Hi guys, I'm Mark.
I'm Penny.
And we are the Oyster Boys, and today Penny's made a beer.
I have. So we've got OBL, Oyster Boys Lager. So I thought, well, we've got to have an OBW.
Oh, right,
Oyster Boys Wheat.
So we can ride the wheat train.
There we go. So we can ride the wheat train hard. So, I mean, the only other really wheat beer we've made of like the Hefeweizen was the one from the Malt Miller they'd written. So we decided to go for one.
Well, we've done the Schneiderweiss clone out that book as well, which was pretty good. Link up there.
Yeah. So basically, I've in my mind tried to clone Weihenstephaner.
Right.
So obviously you can get Weihenstephaner, their yeast from Wyeast.
Wyeast.
So it's the 3068 type. So that's their sort of strain that they allow to go off. I love that banana flavour. So instead of the sort of more Weiss, Schneiderweiss, forget that. We're going more sort of Franziskaner.
Nice.
And Weihenstephaner, that banana-ness that I'm trying to pull from it. So instead of brown bananas, we're going for the sort of ripe green bananas.
No, well, green bananas aren't ripe. Yellow bananas are ripe.
Sorry. Instead of the ripe brown bananas, we're going for the green, fresh banana sort of type taste. So simple grain bill. So basically I went for sort of 60-40 on the grain bill towards wheat. So we got Weyermann's wheat pale malt. And then we've got, we did roughly about 30% on the pale malts, and then I also did Munich malt type 1 just to give a bit of sweetness to it. So
I'm guessing you whacked some oat husks or rice hulls or something in there as well, so you won't
mate.
spend 4 years sparging it.
I'd still be sparging now. So. And then just literally 25 grams of Hallertau at the start, bitter and hops.
Nothing at the end?
That's it. Nothing at the end.
Okay.
Nope.
And no like weird additions like, peppers or
that's more
orange peel or...
No, that's more for your wit, isn't it, when you're styling it. So, a lot of the flavour should be coming pretty much from the yeast, really. So, this is from the keg. So, I had it on the keg. I pulled it from the keg, waiting for you.
Yeah, sorry, mate. It took my time, didn't I?
Yeah. So, I've tasted it. The keg's long gone. So, the last two OBLs, but
so OBWs.
OBW, sorry, but the feedback I've got has been good.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm looking forward to trying it. So should we get in the glass?
So obviously the method that when we made it was just your grain father.
Yep.
So,
and when you fermented it, you said you used the Wyeast or Wyeast 3068.
Yeah, 21. 22 degrees, I think it was. Pretty much when I say if I've made it,
fairly carbonated, this mate.
Yeah. If I've made it, and unless specified by someone else's recipe, what to go off. Usually,
look, I fucked this up.
Usually, I just go off the manufacturer's instructions.
Okay.
And for the middle, so let's say it's 18 to 22. I would do 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna have to give mine a bit of time.
I'm quite surprised how clear yours has come out.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a swirl because I reckon there's probably a bit that will have settled out, even though you've done it from the keg.
If you compare it to mine.
Yeah, I think you've probably got the end of the keg in your bowl, haven't you? So once this head dies down, I'll pour some in. But I think this might be so frothy because it's not like, it would have been icy cold when you bottled it, and it's not super, super cold now. So I'm assuming the carbonation's like coming out of solution a bit, which is fine.
2 hours later.
Mine looks like what you would get if it was bottle conditioned and you'd stirred the yeast in, to be honest. I've probably had the bottom of the keg and I've probably had a bit more thing, but yours is pretty much how it was coming out every time.
It's got a nice haze to it, hasn't it, actually? And it's a lovely colour. Yeah, it's a really nice colour. I'm not quite sure how it'll be coming across on camera because you might not be able to tell, but it's pitch black. It's pitch black right here.
That looks really good. It's glowing. I mean, I'm going to have to go off yours than mine because, like I said, I can see all the yeast at the bottom of mine. I've had quite a lot of yeast that's come out of the keg when I've bottled it. So,
mate, if I had gone to a pub and I'd ordered that and
I got that
as well. Yeah. I mean, mate, that's like a god tier, that, isn't it? That's a
you reckon?
That's a 9.2.
Do you not think it's not? It's like slightly on the clear side for a wheat beer.
No, I don't think. I mean, I can't see it.
Yeah,
like if I put my hand behind it there when the light's on the other side, I can't see anything through that at all.
That's true.
So yeah, I think that's great. That's a 9.2.
9.1 for me, I think. But yeah, I was happy with it when it come out and people were having it.
I'm 30, mate.
Well, we'll smell it first.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, that's lovely.
But
it's not as banana-y as I would have thought from what you were saying.
And what I was getting from the smell,
Yeah.
there's almost a lemoniness as well.
Yeah. It's kind of like it does smell like acidic, doesn't it?
Yeah, acidic. Whether that's because of the high carbonation, or what, I don't know, but it's almost like a yeasty lemoniness that's coming through it as well.
It's definitely got like the yeasty notes in it still, which not in a bad way. It's nice. Smells thick. You can definitely smell some. There is definitely some banana smell in there.
Absolutely. And clove, and I do get a bit of the clovey breadiness from it.
Yeah, but I can definitely smell like it's like an acidy tang.
Maybe
I think, which is
when I actually think of it, maybe it is an acidy banana-ness.
Yeah.
If that's a thing. But smell, I think that's slightly let me down.
It's still. I think for me, it's still in the 7. It's like a 7.4.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I would agree with that and go 7.4 as well.
Oh well, copy me now. Should we try it?
I think so. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. That's lovely.
It is, isn't it?
It's really nice, yeah. How strong is it?
It's about 5.1%.
Okay.
So it's there or thereabouts as what you would expect to find.
Yep.
I think it was something like, I think I did a 23 litre batch and it was about 4.6 kilograms in the grain bill.
Okay.
That went into it. So definitely banana comes through, and clove. I'm still getting the lemoniness that I could smell as well, which is strange, which is something that I've not really had. I think I've had it on one other Hefeweizen.
I think the only wheat beer I've had that was really lemony is when we put the lemon in that Sam Smith's organic one.
You've got a froth in your mouth. That fits you on your tongue.
When we put the lemon in that Sam Smith's one.
Yeah, yeah.
Police in the background there.
Yeah. I don't believe that's the same yeast that they use in their Hefeweizen.
The Weihenstephan.
Would you give it away? You've had it for 1,000 years.
I mean, probably. Someone's going to pick it. Someone's going to get it eventually, so you might as well.
Do you think?
It's called the Weihenstephan strain, isn't it? You can go out and you buy it.
Yeah, but they don't just do one Hefeweizen, don't they? They do all different types and stuff like that.
Do they not use the same yeast from all? And
I don't know. I'll tell you what, one thing is, obviously when I made this, it's obviously just a standard. I didn't use doctor and mashing. Doctor and mash? When you take a batch out and then you
decoction
get it, decoction mash. Sorry, decoction mash.
Doctor Mash. My name's Dr. Mash, guys.
Yeah, I can't say for some reason.
Decoction.
And I've done a lot of research, and they reckon that's where a lot of the breadiness comes from.
Right.
And I think that's what that's lacking to be like a god tier flavour.
Don't they ferment it differently for Weihenstephaner anyway, like big open vats, or pump oxygen through it? Or is
that was Schneiderweiss, and they pump the oxygen through to obviously increase the off flavours from the yeast that it produces. But I'm not about the banana-ness from the yeast. I'm on about the sort of breadiness that you get. Unless I should have used something like Marisota instead of pale malt or something, instead of, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Spitballing now.
Well, when I've looked at the research, and a lot of Hefeweizens, the traditional method is doctrine mash, and I was a bit
decoction
mash, and I was a bit scared of doing it with a grain father, but I will do it. I will do the same recipe.
So talk to me about that again. So what do you do? You get some, you mash it.
You mash it, and you take part of it out, and then you get it to really, really high heat.
Right.
So almost like you caramelising some of it, and then you put it back in.
Right. Okay.
I've not done a lot of research into it because I'm not really sure how you do it on a grain father.
Well, you'd have to take it out and then just use a hob to heat the rest up.
Exactly.
That's
what they do. That's what the breweries do. They'll pull some of it off.
They've got some more equipment than we have, haven't they?
I know.
Pull it off.
But I think to make this god tier all round and all of them, I think that's what's going to need to be done.
You're going to give it a go, round 2?
100%. I'm just going to do it and then think that's perfect. So for me, it's a tasty beer.
Oh yeah,
and it's really tasty. I think that's an 8.3.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 7.9.
Yeah,
because don't get me wrong, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's just not up there. But when I have my wheats, I like them with like Maisels with a really, really strong banana flavour and stuff like that. That's what I like. And
it's almost caramelisation.
Yeah, and this, it's not quite there.
It's the other end of the angle, isn't it? It's almost a little refreshing. So it's almost a bit on like a whip style beer,
Yeah.
that sort of citrusy refreshingness, then maybe the other side of the, like you're saying, we're on about the Weizen and the sort of, oh God. That brick didn't do the trick. Price. So it was 62p per pint.
Mate, that's the thing. When you do like a wheat beer, basically any beer that hasn't got a fuck ton of hops in it, which like, you know, I love the, you know, the double dry hops and New England IPAs and all these styles which have just got, you know, 200 plus grams of hops just thrown in. Big fan. But they all cost a wild amount of money. When you do like, you know, a lager or a wheat beer or like, you know, like an English bitter or something like that, it's so cheap.
Yeah.
So cheap. So, I mean, 60p, it's not the cheapest beer we've done.
It's not the cheapest.
But, I mean, that'd be, I would assume that yeast is like a tenner.
Yeah, it was expensive. Yeah, I think it's about £8.50. So yeah, and then and then the grain was like nothing. It was like £16.50 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you? Because you made the full. Because sometimes when we do like experimental beers or when
I made the full 23. I was confident.
Make 10 litres, but with this one you've gone the full.
Myself.
Yeah.
Not only did I just do 19, I did 23, mate. Max.
Because the thing is, sometimes when you're doing like a test one, the price of the yeast makes the beer just ridiculously expensive to do 10 litres when yeast to tenner. It's like
it does, but then also you feel bad throwing it about, and then if you get a mediocre, you can go. I could probably drink 20 pints of that.
Yeah,
I couldn't drink 40 pints of it.
but this like what 63p? Did you say
62p?
62p.
So it's not. It's good. It's definitely not God's here.
How much is a bottle of Weihenstephaner in Sainsbury's?
It's one of the most. It's £2.
Okay. So you could, what would I rather have? Would I rather have 3 of these, 3 and a bit of these, or 1 bottle of Weihenstephaner? I'd have 3 and a bit of these.
Yeah, me too.
Easy.
And if you have it on draft, you're on about £6. Yeah.
Ooh. And you've got to find somewhere that sells it on draft first.
The price of wheat beer has gone, oh God, yeah, I don't think there's anywhere in Chester now. So, but, saying that, so, I mean, I think 8. I think 8's a good score.
Yeah, 8
like
is.
Because I think we did the clone, and that was a god tier, and that was less than £20. That was altogether less than £20 because that was a dry yeast. That was. So. Do
you reckon you could get a dry yeast? Do they do a dry version of that yeast?
If they do, I've not found it.
Well, I mean, I'll Google it.
So I don't think so though. So. And it's hard to come by.
Because when you were ordering this kit, or that you put the recipe together, you had to order all the grain and everything from one place, and then the yeast somewhere else, didn't you?
I did.
Fucked you on the postage.
I did. But it was worth it.
Yeah, true.
So and then sessionability.
I mean,
the good thing is because it's not overly wheaty.
I think
it's maybe a very high carbonation. It's probably going to let it down. But
when you were saying about
it's not heavy, is it? It's not a heavy wheat beer.
Well, when you were saying that you feel like it was missing like the bready flavours and stuff like that, and the bready notes, I think that does it a favour for sessionability because if you've got a beer that's thick, or some wheat beers are almost chewy, aren't they? Right?
Yeah,
you'll drink it like you wouldn't if you'd been say it's a really really hot day and you sat down and you're like, oh, I need something really refreshing. You're not going to pick up a Schneiderweiss or a Maisels.
No.
Right, because they are not refreshing beers. They're delicious, but they're thick.
Well, speak for yourself.
Right, but this, that is refreshing. That's really, it's quite light to drink.
I think they're built for like the Bavarian and end of like Oktoberfest.
Yeah,
that's sort of like September time, isn't it? It's not the bacon huts when you'd be having a Pils or a, what's it called, a Hells, wouldn't you? So
yeah, but no, this, mate, I think I could. Well, you're going to know because you've nailed the keg, but I could easily have 6 of them.
8.
Talking from experience?
Yeah. 8, easy. Yeah, easy.
It's tasty though, man.
I wouldn't get bored of it. No, it's a really nice, refreshing. And if I was at a pub and I found a random brand of wheat beer, that come and I got served that, I'd be over the moon and I'd have 8.
Yeah. Well, I've clearly enjoyed that. You know. That was a great beer. So, version 2, what would you change? Version 2,
I would try the decoction mash.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah. I would try decoction mash. I would change instead of the pale malt, I would go Marisotta.
Yeah, okay.
I would obviously keep the same yeast. Maybe. I don't know. I'd see what else was out there. and I wouldn't change the grain bill of more than that.
No,
I wouldn't. No, because I think I get the breadiness either from the different mash or the Marisotta, and then I think if I really wanted to delve into creating a sort of Maiselweiss caramel, I'd have to really have a look at the different special malts, and that'd really take some experimentation.
But I think it's a mega beer, to be fair, and I kind of wish that I'd been round to drink more of the keg. My bad. But yeah, I think all that's left to do is to tell you that this is the oyster score for this beer. Yeah. Hope you've enjoyed watching the video. Smash like, hit subscribe. Recipe in the description down below, I think, probably. Yeah. And
if anyone's got any comments on decoction mash or anything like that, or
especially if you're a grain father user,
yeah.
You've done decoction mashing. If you want to tell us how you do that or what you've done,
yeah,
or any tips on it, really, hit us up and let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for now, oysters out.